In earlier classes, we've covered from the Self-Defense Colour Belt Handbook, from page 21, some of the general principles around self-defense. So there are 11 principles into 3 groups. The first one was position, which we did in the first of this series. The second is around responding, and the third is around committing. I'll read you those principles around commit first, because we're going to do that section today, and then I'm going to bring a partner in and illustrate what each of those mean. Now remember, this is only one part of the Self-Defense Handbook. The first part of the book is all around the psychology and targets and those sorts of things that works through avoiding, de-escalating, responding and recovering. And these 11 principles are part of the respond section. Then in the second half of the book, we've got our self-defense syllabus for the various colour belt grades. I'm just going to read the commit bits. Firstly, or in fact, out of these, it's the 8th principle, general principle, prepare for the next attack. Too many self-defense scenarios practice defending against a single attack. Practice defending against continued attacks in a forceful, realistic manner. We won't do so much of the forceful realism today because I don't want to hurt my wife. Generate power with your body. Use your stances, or more particularly, I don't want her to hurt me. Generate power with your body. Use your stances, footwork, sine wave, and theory of power. So the principles that we have learned in Taekwondo. Use everything you know about how to generate power. You have the skills, it's just a matter of learning how to use them in real situations. The third of these 4 is fix your opponent. Once you gain hold of your opponent, try to maintain contact and control until they're no longer a threat. It's more senior levels, this enables you to, in fact, just with more practice really, this enables you to look away from this opponent while you're destroying them for the next risk, the next threat, or the exits or other things you need to be concerned about. And the last principle is follow up. So you want to follow up with a series of strikes until you know you're out of danger, and no more than that. You don't want to keep going once the danger has stopped or you're going to find yourself in handcuffs. You follow up maybe to disengage and run away. That may be all you need to do. If you get one hit and drop them and you've got the time, you just turn and leave, that might be enough. If you've got your young child with you, turning and running may not be an option. So it depends on the situation. So we've got preparing for the next attack, generating power with your body, fixing your opponent and following up. So we'll illustrate those now. Here comes my opponent. So, attack comes in, doesn't matter what it may be. I'm now from this position going to think, what's next? What is the next thing she can do? And this is actually a really good drill to work through a number of different attack scenarios. If you've got a partner you can work with at home, you don't actually be having to practice anything, hurting anybody, just thinking what could be next. That punch is quite, I'm vulnerable to that punch. That either of those legs really could come in. That back leg's the most likely because the body weight's more on the front one as the step forward. If you're a bit taller, I might have to be worried about the headbutt. Okay, so now we'll do another one. So these could include grabs. So from here, what do I have to be concerned about? Again, a headbutt is quite a risk, particularly with a taller opponent. If they're stronger, they might be lifting me up off the ground. That could be a risk. I've got a knee that I have to worry about. Now, in all of these scenarios, you're then thinking, how am I going to position myself to reduce those risks? So from here, with the headbutt, my hands are coming straight up. The head comes in, I'm just going to capture it with my hand. Without thinking about it, it just becomes instinctive. You'll notice that I've also shifted side on. That makes me less vulnerable to the knee. The other thing I want to be concerned about here is she can actually punch me with this hand without even letting go of my clothes. So from here, if I keep my hand on top of her arms, I can feel it coming. Okay, so next attack, what else may come in? Okay, so blocking this first attack again, what am I worried about next? This hand's quite close, what can that do to me? Also thinking, of course, about the assumptions we're making from earlier in the book, that my opponent's got weapons, that my opponent's got friends, and that I'm caught on camera. So what happens if there's a weapon in this hand? Okay, the knee and stuff, I've got to be very, very careful about those things. So you can be trying all the grabs from the different syllabuses, all the different attacks. So that's the first one. Second one was around generating power with your body. Now we don't necessarily need a partner for this, but remember we talked last time about short, sharp techniques without backward motion. So we've got all of our principles about dropping into our sine wave and using our stances. This is not going to generate a lot of power. Simple releasing techniques are very valuable for this, because you see a lot of people when they're first starting will be trying to pull out of their hand this way. What I want to do is drop into my stance and use my entire body to release out of this movement, not just my arm. If my partner grabs me with two hands and really puts her body weight into this grab, it's going to be much harder for me to release just with my arm. So I'm going to drop and use my entire body to get out of this. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're using all of this stuff that you're learning all the time. Dropping to use your sine wave. Really throwing all of your core in with your counter attacks and with your releases. So one hand grabs, maybe the same from here. If I'm going to drop her off balance, I'm going to step down into my stance, drop down this way. Just really utilising all of my mass with the sine wave and all of the energy from the core of my body. So that's generating power with the body. Fixing the opponent. This is a really great thing to get used to. If the opponent comes in with a straight punch, it's a really nice one to work with. As an example, from here, once I've made contact, I'm going to keep it. This gives me a bit more control. Okay, now I can use this hand to do what I need to do. Maybe from here I can let go of this hand because I've fixed my opponent with this one. Okay, so once I've got them in a position where I'm holding on to them, I can now feel what I'm doing here without looking, and I can look around for where my safe exits are. I can see with these other opponents circling around while I'm taking this person apart. So whatever position you end up in, you want to think about whatever attack. Oh, I thought it was going to be an elbow. Okay, from here, I've now got a fix on my opponent. I want to keep strong in this position while I'm using the other principles to destroy the opponent. So keep fix the opponent. The problem is, if you don't fix, throw an attack, I don't fix, she comes again. So I need to be able to get control a little bit here and fix so that I reduce your opportunities for attack. And then we've already worked on closest to the closest target and speed. So we go hit, 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 which is of course the last principle as well, following up. Whatever the attack comes in, we practiced this in the last class, whatever attack comes in from here, anything I do from here, I'm now going to follow it up, and I'm going to keep following it up until this opponent is no longer a threat. And then I disengage. Okay, so we're not going to rely on a one-hit wonder. We're going to go bang, 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 bang until we're no longer in danger, and then we're going to get out of there. Now, if you have a partner that you can work with, great. Be careful. Notice even with those movements there, I wasn't dropping my wife on the ground so she's going to hurt herself. So, and work slowly if you're working with somebody that doesn't practice taekwondo. Just work slowly and carefully so you can work with each other and feel it. If you haven't got a partner to work with, just try these principles with something that you can use as a dummy. Might be a clothes rack. You might with your, get your children while they're at home to make you a head out of a ball and a body out of a shirt stuffed up with some rags. Whatever you want to work with, just find something that you can work with and play around with those principles, or use a partner that's wanting to work with you. Work through those 4 principles and then tie the 11 principles together. I'll just quickly read through them again. Thank you. So there's 11 principles. Position, use appropriate techniques for each range. Move off the line of attack and stay off the ground. Respond, adapt your kicks. Don't telegraph your response. Respond with speed and be simple and effective. And commit, prepare for the next attack, generate power with your body, fix your opponent, and follow up. So there's 11 general principles that we use when we're responding to a physical attack. There's a lot more in this book around the psychology that is absolutely worth reading. So take your time to read through this book, but for now, practice this stuff, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next session.